Understand these situations. We have with us here Tara Mahler. She's a former CIA analyst and is currently a fellow at the New America Foundation. Tara, thanks for being with us. So a lot to talk about today. Two operations within hours, both in Africa, after high-level targets. You worked for the CIA. Talk about how does the U.S. go about trying to carry off an operation like this?
Absolutely. It seems that there's information that they've been tracking these targets for some time, a longer period of time in the Libya case in the last week or so in the case in Somalia. So what they've been doing is they've been collecting information from human sources, probably on the ground after the Westgate attack. They've been collecting probably imagery of the area as they track the individuals coming in and out of the building. They've been tracking intercepted communications, most likely between leaders of these groups or individuals affiliated with leaders of these groups. And then through all of this intelligence together, they plan the actual raid, and that's what happened today.
So how long do they generally sit on information like this? If they know where these people are, do they tend to act pretty quickly?
In the case of the Somalia incident, it seems that they've been tracking or planning this for about a week. They want to be absolutely sure. I mean, we've all seen this happen in the movies, so obviously those are a little bit dramatized for entertainment purposes, but they have to be sure. So they have to not only have the information in terms of the reports themselves, but most likely there was monitoring going on of these particular sites. These are both, I think, personal sites, and what I mean by that is they weren't camps, they weren't bases. They were a seaside house, I believe, in the case of Somalia, and also I believe the reports that have been coming in, although things have been changing rapidly, was that in the Libya case it was also that he was apprehended, the leader was apprehended at his home. So there was probably people either on the ground or cameras up above watching these sites for a little while.
And how do they make the decision to actually go in and with boots on the ground, so to speak, to go in and try to apprehend these people and not just use a drone strike?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a decision that would be left to the president. It's interesting, back in 2009, in the same town in Somalia, there was an attack operations carried out against an al-Qaeda affiliated leader as well in this area, believed to be involved in attacks also on targets in Kenya and targets in Somalia. So in that case, there were not boots on the ground. I believe it was a helicopter assault with some tomahawks. So in this case, there was a decision made to have boots on the ground. Again, that would rise probably to the level of the president and Secretary of Defense.
Because that's a big decision, especially in Somalia, where the U.S. forces have a troubled history.
It is, and especially after all the heat in Benghazi. But these are decisions that are made, probably up to the wire, like with the Bin Laden raid, like with the Benghazi situation, and things can go, according to plan or not according to plan. It seems like in one case it went according to plan precisely in Libya. They apprehended him. But in the Somalia case, it's not really clear what exactly happened. It's not really clear if they've confirmed the death of the target that they were trying to go in after.
This guy in Libya that they apprehended, an al-Qaeda operative, Abu Anas al-Libi, what do we know about him? We know he's thought to be responsible for the bombings in Africa, the embassies back in the late 90s, but what do we know about him since then?
Well, he is one of the sort of core members of al-Qaeda, so in this sense he was a high priority target for the administration. They've already indicted individuals associated with those embassy attacks, but he's been one of the outstanding people. There's been, I think, a $5 million reward out for him for some time now. So that's a big catch for special ops and for the administration. On the flip side, the Somalia one is sort of the more politically salient one right now with the Westgate attack, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome on that.
There's been a lot of talk in Washington, obviously, about the government shutdown. Do you think it's had any kind of impact on these operations?
I'm not sure if it had precise impact on these operations because it's too early to say, but I mean, it has to have an impact on the overall function of the national security apparatus. You have hundreds of thousands of civilian defense employees at home. You have 12,000, I think, CIA people deemed non-essential and 5,000 at the NSA. I mean, that's a lot of people sitting at home not doing their jobs, and that's a lot of extra work absorbed by the people who are there.
And apparently they're still doing the work. 2 major operations this weekend in Africa going after different militant groups. So, Tara Mahler, thank you so much for your insight today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
And for today's lawmakers,